Good morning, children.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning, ma'am.
Morning.
My voice is audible, no? Not breaking in between. Is my
Audible.
voice breaking?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am.
Because I felt some of your voices breaking. So I asked. If any problem is there, you use the chat box. Okay. So we were learning about the classification of bryophytes, and we completed one group under that, and we started with the second one. So the connectivity got fluctuating. Now it's okay, no? You can hear me clearly. Yes?
Yes, ma'am.
Can anyone respond so that
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
come to know it's
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Okay, okay. So we were learning about the classification of bryophytes, and we learned that there are two groups coming under bryophytes, and we completed one and we started with the second one in our previous class. Which are those two groups coming under bryophytes, Steffi? Steffi, which are the two groups, two major groups coming under bryophytes?
Liverworts and
Starting with M.
starting with
M.
Mosses.
Yes, liverworts and mosses. We were learning about, or we learned in detail about liverworts, their characteristic features, methods of reproduction, and we learned about gemme. What are gemme, Evelyn? I think the same question you got earlier, Evelyn. Gemme.
Green multicellular sexual buds that are produced on gaps.
Where do they develop? Where are they developed?
On
What are the special roots where these develop? Evelyn? Where do they develop? Where are these found? On special structures. Gemme will be developing on certain special gemme cubs. And once they detach from the parent plant, they can grow to
gametophytic.
a new individual. They'll germinate and form a, okay. And then we started with Moses, and I think we just had an introduction only, and we were saying about two major stages in Moses. Anybody is remembering which are the two stages? We didn't explain it, just the names of two stages we mentioned under Moses. Their life cycle as such, you can, the predominant form is gametophyte, and it has got two stages. Anybody is remembering which are those two?
Protonema stage and leafy stage.
Very good. So protonema and also leafy stage. The first stage is protonema. Then from that second stage develops, which is known as leafy stage. So let us learn more about Moses today. The predominant stage in the life cycle of a moss is gametophyte. As you know, there are two major stages, gametophyte and sporophyte. Out of that, the predominant, the main stage is gametophyte, and it consists of two stages. There are two steps or two stages in its development. The first stage is known as protonema stage, and second stage is known as leafy stage. Now let us learn more about these two stages, starting with the first one, protonema stage. So as you know, the sporophytic stage and the gametophytic stage alternate. So gametophyte will be developed by germinal spore. So this one, the protonema stage, is developed directly from the spore. Okay, so protonema stage will be developed from the spore, and characteristic features are they'll be creeping, so they'll be lying or growing flat on the ground, green color, and they can be branched, and they form a filamentous, or they are in the form of or they form a filamentous or ribbon like structures. Mostly, frequently they will be having a filamentous structure. Once again, there are two stages, two main stages in the development of a gametophyte. The first one is known as protonema stage, and the second one is known as leafy stage. And in protonema, it's a creeping, green colored, branched and filamentous structure, and it is developed from spore. And next stage is leafy stage. Leafy stage is actually developed from protonema. To be more specific, they are developed from secondary protonema. So protonema develops, and from that small branches arise, which is known as secondary protonema. And from that secondary protonema, as just like a bud, it will be developed. Once again, first the protonema stage will develop by the germination of the spore produced by the sporophyte. And these protonema, or this particular protonema, will develop some branches from arising from the main branch or arising from the main structure. So that is known as secondary protonema. And it is from the secondary protonema that the leafy stage arises in the form of a lateral bud. In the beginning, it will be in the form of a small bud. And the lateral means in the side or the sideways, one small bud-like structure develops. But later, they will develop into erect structures having spirally arranged leaves. Slender axis means thin structures will be there, axis on which we cannot call it a stem. So slender axis which perform the function of stem, and on that spirally leaves will be arranged, green colored leaves will be arranged on that. So one day, in the life cycle of a moss, gametophyte is the most important or predominant stage, and it consists of two main phases. One is protonema, second one is the leafy stage. And protonema stage is developed by the germination of the spore. Spore will germinate and form protonema. And the characteristic features of protonema are that it's creeping, it's green in color, it can be branched as well as filamentous. And from the protonema, secondary protonema arises. And from the secondary protonema, leafy stage develops, and the starting stage will be in the form of a small bud. Slowly they will develop very thin axis, erect axis, and on that you can find spirally arranged leaves. Exactly, you cannot call them as leaves, but they leaf-like, root-like, stem-like structures. Okay, so axis means that is similar to the stem. Then rhizoids, that already we mentioned rhizoids. They are structures which resemble resemble the roots of higher plants, and that's the same function, absorption of nutrients and attachment. They are attached to the soil with the help of multicellular and branched rhizoids. They perform the function of roots in higher plants. So once again, there are two main stages in the life cycle of the gametophyte of a moss: protonema stage and leafy stage. Protonema is formed by the germination of spore developed from sporophyte. It's creeping, green in color, and it is branched, and mostly it is in the filamentous shape or filamentous structure. And arising from the protonema, or the primary protonema, you can say, secondary protonema arises or is produced. And on the secondary protonema, small buds arise. Lateral buds. Laterally means on the sideways, not at the tip or somewhere. Laterally, some bud-like structures arise. They slowly develop into erect, slender axis on which leaves are arranged, or leaf-like structure. they are attached to the soil with the help of multicellular and branched rhizoids. And it is leafy shoots or leafy structures that the sex organs are produced, or else you can say this stage bears the sex organ. As such, you know, the function of gametophyte or gametophyte is having sex organs which will produce the male and female gametes, and it is a leafy stage which will have the sex organs. So sex organs are produced in the leafy stage. Clear? So the two stages in the gametophyte of mosses are protonema and leafy stage, and it is the leafy stage which has got the sex organs which will produce the gametes, which later fuses and forms the zygote. Now moving on to vegetative reproduction. So vegetative reproduction, so we learned about the two main stages in the predominant stages, that is gametophyte. Now we are moving on to the methods of reproduction. We'll start with vegetative reproduction. The vegetative reproduction is taking place by two methods. One is fragmentation, the other one is budding. Budding in secondary protonema. Some buds will arise in the secondary protonema, and from that bud a new individual can be formed, or a new plant, or yes, new moss plant can be formed, or by fragmentation. So that you know, the plant body breaking up into fragments, and from the fragments new individual arising. So vegetative propagation can be by means of fragmentation and also by budding. Now moving on to sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction, already we learned that it's a leafy stage which will bear the sex organs. And sex organs, by now you might have understood the names of the sex organs: antheridium and archegonium. Antheridia plural, archegonia plural. Archegonium and antheridium singular. So antheridia and archegonia, these are the sex organs, and they are produced or they are found on the leafy shoots, or in the leafy stage. At the tip of the leafy shoots you can find antheridium and archegonium. And as you know, antheridium will produce male gamete, archegonium will produce a female gamete or the egg. And these gametes can fuse and result in the formation of a zygote. And zygote will develop into sporophyte. And the sporophyte will produce spores. Spores will again form gametophyte. Gametophyte will produce sex organs. And sex organs will produce gametes. That gametes will fuse, forms the zygote. And this continues. These two phases will alternate with each other. Once again, once fertilization is over, zygote is formed, and that zygote will develop into sporophyte. And the sporophyte has got three stages or three parts: foot, seta, and capsule. Capsule is the structure where the spores are produced. And if you compare liverworts and mosses, sporophyte is a little more elaborate, little more better developed in mosses than in liverworts. And it is the capsule where the spores are produced by meiotic division. And for spore dispersal also, there is an elaborate mechanism in mosses. Only then this can be dispersed to faraway places, and it can germinate over there, producing gametophyte. So once again, I will summarize what we were saying. We learned about mosses, the two main stages in the gametophyte, and then we moved on to vegetative reproduction, and after that we learned about sexual reproduction. In vegetative reproduction, two methods: fragmentation and budding. And in sexual reproduction, I told that it is the leafy stage of the gametophyte which produces the sex organs, and these sex organs are known as antheridia and archegonia, which will produce male and female gametes. They will fuse, form zygote. Zygote will develop into sporophyte, and that sporophyte will produce spores which will germinate and form gametophyte. And for a sporophyte, there are three parts: foot, seta, and capsule. And it is in the capsule that spores are produced by meiotic division. And when compared to liverworts, the sporophyte is little more elaborate or little more more developed in mosses when compared to liverworts, and there are different mechanisms by means of which these spores can be dispersed to faraway places. So you can see some pictures of mosses. Sphagnum, already we learned about sphagnum, the peat produced by sphagnum and all you have learned its economic importance or learn. You can see Funaria and Polytrichum. Polytrichum, Funaria and sphagnum. Once again, sphagnum, Funaria and Polytrichum are some examples for mosses. Okay. Now is it okay? You were able to hear without any disturbance in the voice? All the points were clear, children?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay. So if you want, I'll just summarize. We learned about two main stages in the gametophytic phase of mosses, and we learned that is the most important stage. And there are two phases in gametophyte. Michael, which are those two phases in the gametophyte of mosses?
Protonema stage and leafy
Ah.
stage.
Leafy stage and protonema stage. Out of this, which one bears the sex organs, Nidhi? Sex organs are produced in which stage?
Leafy stage.
Okay. So which are the two sex organs? Wither, antheridium and archegonium. And antheridium and archegonium, what do they produce, Donna? What do antheridium and archegonium produce?
Food.
Huh? Antheridium and archegonium. What do they?
They are produced at the apex of leafy shoots.
There was a power failure. Okay. So we were saying about antheridium and archegonium. Steffi, who was answering it?
Me, ma'am.
Okay, Donna, tell me. Antheridium and archegonium. What do they produce?
Zygote and it.
Listen carefully. What do antheridium and archegonium produce?
Sporophytes.
Antheridium and archegonium are the sex organs. So what do antheridium produce? Think and tell me. Antheridium, archegonium. Antheridium will produce what?
Antherozoid.
Yes. And archegonium?
Egg cells.
Yes. And they fuse together and form. Sania,
Egg-
continue. Then what happens, Sania? Once gametes are produced, they will fuse.
Forming zygote.
Then continue.
Then the zygote goes meiotic divisions and
Zygote will develop into?
sporophyte.
Yes. Okay. Which are the three parts of the sporophyte, Gayatri? Three parts of the sporophyte.
Seta and capsule.
And then where do the production of spores take place?
The
Anthony, Anthony, Anthony. Where are the spores produced in a sporophyte, Anthony? Anthony.
Apex of leafy shoot.
Yes. What issue?
Apex leafy shoot.
My question is, for a sporophyte, there are three parts. She told that there are foot, setae, and capsule. Out of these three parts, where is the spore production taking place?
Liverworts. Liverworts.
I told three parts. Choose one from there. Setae, foot, and capsule. Don't look anywhere. It's not there. Rijas?
Capsule.
Capsule. Did you hear, Anthony? Where is the spore production taking place?
Capsule.
And which method? Can you say, Anthony, how are spores formed? Mitotic division or meiotic division?
Mitotic. Mitotic.
Meiotic division, not mitotic. Meiotic division takes place and spores are formed. What will happen to these spores, Sharon? What will happen to the spores produced by sporophyte?
Mosses have an elaborate mechanism that disperses spores.
Spores are dispersed. Now what
Dispersed.
happens? Now what happens? Spores have got dispersed. Now what is next?
Then the sporophyte in mosses is more formed after meiosis.
You listen to my question. You don't read those sentences. My question is, sporophyte will produce spores. And you said that it will get dispersed. Okay, it is getting dispersed. Then what is the next stage happening? Spores got dispersed. What is its function? What is the function of the spores? What will happen to these spores? Sharon, which is the next stage to be developed from there?
Leafy stage.
We learned about two major stages. I'm not asking about leafy stage or protonema stage. Sporophyte, spores produced, spores will get dispersed. They fall on a suitable substratum. They
And
will
they
germinate.
produce gametophyte.
That's it. They'll produce gametophyte.
Gametophyte.
Gametophyte again produces gametes, fuses, forms zygote. That will again develop into sporophyte.
Sporophyte.
This continues. Sporophyte produces spores. Spores will germinate and form gametophyte. Again, this cycle will get continued. So with that, we have completed bryophytes. Now we have to start with the next division. Which is the next division? We completed Thallophyta or algae, Bryophyta. What is next? Michael, what is next? Michael?
Okay, can you repeat the question, man?
I'm seeing from here you are getting distracted in between. We covered under plant kingdom, we covered algae, Bryophyta. Which is the next one we need to discuss about?
Pteridophyta.
Yes, pteridophytes. So let's learn about pteridophytes now. So when compared to algae, hope you're remembering what you've learned in class 9. When compared to Thallophyta and Bryophyta, pteridophytes are little more better developed. They have vascular tissues, or xylem and phloem are there, and somewhat developed root, stem, and leaves. Here the plant body is slightly differentiated when compared to the other two, where there were no differentiation. Here in pteridophytes, when compared to Thallophyta and Bryophyta, this is a little more developed, better developed than the other two. And they include horsetails and ferns. So the common groups of organisms coming under this: horsetails and ferns. So just like we said, liverworts and mosses under bryophytes, here it includes horsetails and ferns. So you can see pictures of horsetails and ferns. So different varieties are present both under horsetails and ferns. Now moving on to the characteristic features. They are found in cool, damp, shady places. Damp means wet, moist places. And some can be found growing in sandy soil conditions. So they are found in cool, damp, or moist, shady places, and they even grow well in sandy soil conditions. And they are considered to be the first terrestrial plants. Terrestrial plants means plants which are found growing on land. So they are the first terrestrial plants to have vascular tissues. So when we discussed about algae or bryophyta, we didn't mention anything about vascular tissues. Vascular tissues are absent in bryophytes and also in algae. But these are the first terrestrial plants to have vascular tissues. What are vascular tissues? Xylem and phloem, because they help in conducting food, water, minerals, etc. to different parts of the body. Just like we have a vascular system which comprises of your blood, heart, and other related structures. Here, the vascular tissues are which carries out conduction of water, food, and minerals to different parts of the body. Once again, pteridophytes, they include horsetails and ferns. You can find them in cool, damp, shady places, and you can even find them in sandy soil. And for one word and all, it can be asked, which are the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues? These are pteridophytes. Point to be noted for MCQ and all. It can be asked, first terrestrial plants to have vascular tissues, pteridophytes. And horsetails and ferns come under which plant division? Pteridophytes. So like that, ulta pulta, you can questions in any way. It need not be one. Anyhow, for multiple choice also, such questions can be asked. So make it compulsory that you read your daily lessons. Okay, so how, in any ways, maybe it can be asked, which are the groups of plants coming under our pteridophyta, or else it can be asked, horsetails and ferns come under which plant division? And the next question, what I said is, the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues. Name the first terrestrial plants to possess vascular tissues are xylem and phloem. So any doubt in this particular slide? Shall I move on to the next one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes? Yes. So next, here you can see some pictures of pteridophytes. In bryophytes, just now what we finished, in the previous division, what we discussed was about bryophytes. And there, the dominant phase, we learned it as gametophyte. Whereas, very important point to be noted, in pteridophytes, the dominant phase or the main plant body is a sporophyte. So for multiple choice or one word questions, it can be asked, which is the dominant phase in bryophytes? Which is the dominant phase in bryophytes? Gametophyte. And in pteridophytes, which is the dominant phase? Sporophyte. So don't get confused. You make your own codes, B, G, P, S, or somehow you remember, you make some codes so that you will not commit any mistakes. In bryophytes, the major phase is gametophyte, whereas in pteridophytes, the main phase is sporophyte. Is that clear? So make it thorough now itself. So don't get confused. The dominant phase in bryophyte is gametophyte, whereas in pteridophytes, the division which we are dealing now, the main phase is sporophyte. What is the function of a sporophyte then? What do
Producing
sporophytes?
spores.
Producing spores. And gametophyte produces gametes. And here you can find the next characteristic feature. Here the plant body is differentiated into root, stem and leaves. Here you can find true root, stem and leaves. Whereas in the other two classes what we discussed, that is in Bryophyta and algae, they were lacking in root, stem and leaves. But this is the first terrestrial plants where we are discussing about the main or the different differentiation into different body parts can be found over here. And apart from that, another important feature is that they have well differentiated vascular tissues. Which are the vascular tissues you know? Name the vascular xylem and phloem. So they have well differentiated vascular tissues. And another feature, as you can see in the picture, see in the first two figures, you can find the leaves are very small, minute leaves you can find. See here, you can find minute leaves. And then you call it as microphylls. When the leaves are small in size, you call them as microphylls. Example, Selaginella. Whereas on the other side, you can see a fern. I think fern, you're very familiar. You can see them on the growing on the walls of your pond or some moist places or on moist walls, boundary walls and all you can find. I don't know whether you have done such things. When I was child or during my childhood days, what I used to do is I used to pluck out, me and my friends, we used to pluck this leaf of fern and we used to press that leaf on your hand and you will get a white impression or imprint of that particular plant on our hand. Have you done anyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I thought you people are limiting your area of now anyway, no choice. But other than that, you have seen it. Okay. So what are those white colored structures? Any idea? What are those white colored structures? Powdery thing. When you are pressing this fern leaf on correct, spores. Okay. So we'll come back to that later. Leaves in Pteridophyta, it can be small. When the leaves are small, you call it as microphylls. And when the leaves are large, fern, this entire one, this is not one leaf, but this entire one will be considered as one leaf. So in ferns, it is macrophylls. Whereas in plants like Selaginella, you call it as microphylls. Is it clear? We got it? Microphylls and macrophylls. So we were learning about the third category or third division coming under plant kingdom, that was Pteridophyta. Sania, can you tell me two characteristic features of this pteridophytes? Where can you find them?
They are mainly consisting of host tails and ferns.
Okay.
They can be found in cool places and also in sandy soils.
Very good, very good. Steffi, any other point about pteridophytes?
In bryophytes, the dominant feature is
Tell me which main
dominant phase is gametophyte.
Think and tell me. Which is the dominant?
In bryophytes, the dominant phase is gametophyte.
Yes, agreed. But we are learning about which one now?
Pteridophytes.
So which is the dominant phase over here?
Sporophyte.
Okay. Sporophyte is the dominant phase. Then we learned about, which is the other one we learned? Other feature we learned about the leaves. Punya, tell me about the leaves. Which are the two types of leaves found in pteridophytes?
Microphyll and macrophyll.
What is the difference between? Nia, can you tell me the difference between macrophylls and microphylls?
Macrophylls in ferns.
These, listen, Nia, listen. Both are the two different sizes of leaves. So macro and microphylls. So which one will be bigger leaves and which is smaller leaves?
Macro will be bigger and
micro
will be smaller.
Can you give an example, Meenakshi, for macrophyls? Bigger leaves?
Ferns.
Ferns. And microphyls, one example. Nidhi, microphyls?
Selaginal.
Yes, correct. Selaginella. Very good, very good. So we'll continue. So this we have already seen. Now we are moving on to the next slide. So here you can find other features of some uses of pteridophytes. You can find, just 1 minute, children. Let me move this. Okay. Some ferns, they have medicinal value. Some uses you're going to learn. Some of these ferns come under pteridophytes. Some examples: rattlesnake fern, ostrich fern, bracken fern. These are some. You don't have to learn the names of all that, but you should know what is its use. Some ferns have medicinal value. Names are not mentioned in your textbook, but it is better that you know some 1 or 2 names. So some of them are having medicinal properties and some of them are used for decorative purposes. They look very attractive and they are used for ornamental purposes. It can be grown so that it will add beauty to the surroundings. So some of them are ornamental, some are having medicinal value. And some are used as soil binders. Soil binders means, you know that one major reason for soil erosion is no strong roots. Roots are not there to hold the soil firmly. You know that when deforestation, when cutting down of trees is carried out, it can lead to soil erosion. The main reason is when trees are not there, we don't have the roots to hold this soil firmly. Okay, so just like the roots of higher trees, these pteridophytes also can form as can grow on the soil substratum or can grow on the soil surface, and they can help in binding the soil particles together and hence preventing soil erosion. That is very important, especially very relevant in the present era where we are busy cutting down trees rather than planting them. And they can also be grown as ornamental plants for decorative purposes. So these are the 3 major uses of pteridophytes. I'll repeat it once again. They are having medicinal properties. Some of them are used as soil binders, which will help in holding the soil particles together and will prevent soil erosion. And certain other ferns are used for ornamental, for decorative purposes. I think 12:10 was our time, no children? So quickly, can you tell me the 3 uses so that we will wind up? Who is going to tell me? Nandana, 1 point.
They have medicinal value. Some ferns have
Medicinal
value.
properties. Okay. Another one. Anna Viju?
Yes, ma'am. They are used as ornamental ferns.
Yes, very good. One more is remaining. Who is going to tell that? Anthony? Anthony? Your video is stuck or what? Naureen?
Used as soil binders.
What is the advantage of using them as soil binders? They'll help in preventing
Soil erosion.
Yes, very good. Okay, children, thank you. We'll continue next class. Anthony, your connectivity got back to normal? Anthony, can you repeat the answer? One use, any one use of fern.
Fern, decorative purpose.
Okay, learn it properly. Next class, we'll start with you. Okay, answering all the points. Thank you, children.